So, thank you everybody for coming. Last week we were making a house, kind of, which I have here. We'd gone through the basics of just, creating rooms and creating windows and how to cut doors the correct size and whatnot, and making sure the normals were facing the right way. We unwrapped it and textured it. This week, what I wanted to do was not to continue with the house because we will finish it, but this week I want to take a break from the house. Next week, I'll have created some more rooms and actually got more or less a complete house, but it's using exactly the same technique as we've learned before. I don't see the point of going over everything, just repeating the same things week after week after week just to create a house. We'll have it, because obviously you'll be wanting to make your own designs, your own layout and whatnot. So I'm going to have the basic thing done, but there is going to be 2 stories, 2 levels. There'll be an upstairs with bedrooms and bathroom and whatnot, and there'll be some stairs. So I thought, what would do this week? There's 2 things I'd like to cover this week. I know last week I promised that I would go over occlusion culling and demonstrate what it actually does, how it works, and it'll become really clear why it's a very, very good optimization technique for your worlds, and you should be using it really if you can, anywhere you can. So we'll do that, and then what I want to do is to go over a few different techniques for creating stairs and how to make them fit your layout, your house, or whatever it is that you're building. So the first thing is I've just literally very quickly created, I'll just make this a bit bigger. I've just created a simple scene with a few primitives and a kind of brick wall, and I've just coloured everything to make everything more visible. And in every scene, if you want to visualise your occlusion culling, you need a camera, because you need to be able to see it from the camera's perspective. The camera is your avatar's eyes. So if we add a camera into the scene and just pretend it's your avatar's eyes.
Lisa?
Yeah?
Real quick, is this
I kinda
Unity
hear
or
you double
Blender or what?
This is Unity.
a little bit.
Okay,
Sorry,
thank
what
you.
you saying,
I don't
Bart?
know whether I kinda hear you double. I don't know whether everybody else hears that, but it's like a very
Yep.
soft double voice for me. So maybe it's
Mm.
We've
somebody
set
who
somebody
got
in
the mic
PC.
on.
Can
So
you
make
mute?
sure that you're
Jay?
muted.
Jay, can you mute?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I will mute him. It's fine. I can mute him. Okay, yeah, that
Okie
fixed
doke.
it. Okay,
Right.
go ahead, Lisa. All good now.
Oh, I can still hear an echo.
Yeah.
No, I can.
For himself. No, we don't hear it.
Muted it, but
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. How do you mute somebody for everybody? That's a good question. Because
Well,
you might just mute.
Oh, right.
as moderator, yeah, you just click on their head and click on the mute button.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did that.
There we
Yep,
go.
now you're good.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, so what was I doing? Oh, yes. Yes. There we go. So in Unity, I've created it in Blender and just given everything a different colours, basically. And I've got my camera in. I'm going to reset the camera and make it 2 meters above the ground, just because. Okay. And we'll move it over to here. So you can see down here, this is the camera view. This is obviously our viewport view. I'm just going to make sure the occlusion is not baked. If you want to find the occlusion culling tab, it's under Window, Rendering and Occlusion Culling. And when you turn that on, it'll automatically appear over here. It may be floating, you can just dock it up to here by dragging this little tab thing and docking it wherever you want it. I always like it over here. So I'm going to select everything in my scene, and in the inspector under static, we're going to mark everything as an occludee and everything as an occluder except for the plane. And the reason, basically, an occluder is something which causes occlusion. So you could be standing behind a brick wall. If it's an occluder, anything that is behind the wall will not be rendered, will not be seen. If it's an occludee, it's something that is affected by that brick wall. So almost all things should be both an occluder and an occludee unless it's a very, very small object. If it's a small object, it's never going to block your field of vision. You don't need to mark it as an occluder, just mark it as an occludee so it'll disappear when it's not in view. So once you've, and this is the reason why I've turned off occluder for the plane, because you're never going to be behind the plane. There's nothing below it. It doesn't need to occlude anything. It's always going to be there. The only thing is, if you look up at the sky, we don't need it to be rendered. It'll disappear, so we'll mark it as an occludee. So once you've got that done, you go over to occlusion culling and you choose bake. And that's everything baked. Literally as easy as that. You can see we've got a file that's 5.9K in size, and that contains all the occlusion data. So it doesn't take up space really. It's not going to affect performance. It'll improve performance because it's only going to render what it needs. So this is actually set to visualization. There's object. You can see all the bounding boxes for everything it's going to occlude. But if we set it to visualization and grab our camera, all those boxes appear again. And in this box, this is what the camera sees. But we can move the camera around. And if we move it forward, actually, I'll just turn the boxes off so you can see a bit better. If we move it forward, we're approaching that cylinder. But as we go past it, it disappears from the viewport. Once we're inside the cylinder, everything disappears. But we'll come out of it and you can see on the right here, you can just see the corner of this cone. So the cone's still there, but as we move forward and it's out of view, the cone disappears. It's no longer being rendered. We can move the camera through the door of the wall and everything is occluded now, but if we turn it around, we rotate it, as this wall comes into view, it needs to start rendering the bits that should be in the camera view. And you can turn it around and even come back through the door. Even move it behind the wall here. Once it's behind the wall, all these primitive shapes disappear, because the wall's occluding it. But when we go in front of the door, these appear back in view again because we can see them there. And we can go through the wall. Now the wall's behind us, so it's not being rendered, but the primitives are there. So it's literally, rather than rendering absolutely everything, as it does when you see it in object view, it's just rendering what it actually needs, and that makes it so much easier on your headset. So as I say, occlusion culling, highly recommended. I've got another project open to demonstrate occlusion culling. This is something that Bart and I created a long time ago. Used to be in Old Space and we brought it in here. Again, I've just added, oh, there was already a camera in there. There we go, there's our camera. Did I make occlusion? Yes, I did. So without occlusion, visualization on, I've just cleared that. So there's no occlusion data has been baked, it says there. As I move the camera forward, nothing happens, everything's being rendered at the same time. And there's a lot of objects in here. We've got all kinds of things. There's cutlery and plates and candles and mugs and food and all kinds of stuff, and that we can really improve performance by baking the occlusion culling in here. So we'll bake that. And there we've got 10.7K for everything. We can turn it on.
Everything was made static, right?
It needs to be marked. Everything needs to be marked as
No,
either an occluder
I'm
or an
sorry.
occludee. Yeah. Yeah. In this instance, obviously, I've got contribute GI because all the lighting is baked. In fact, I've just about ticked everything except batching here, because for the items that I've got repeated, duplicated, like all the different apples and stuff, I've got the material set as, when I can find it, got the material set as GPU instancing. So it's just having to load the mesh in for this apple once and the material for the apple once, but then because it's set to GPU instancing and I've got batch and static turned off, all it's doing is it's loaded the mesh and the material in once and then just duplicating it. It's just rendering lots of the same thing all over the place. If you have it set to batch and static, it'll try and load the entire space in, or everything that uses the same material, at least as one big mesh. And in many instances, this is one of the ones I would use GI instancing in. Completely forgot what I was talking about now. Yeah, there we go. We were talking about the occlusion. I'll just turn everything off and we'll select our camera again. So again here, this is what the camera sees. And as I walk forward through it, everything that's not in view just disappears and is not rendered. It looks absolutely fine from the camera's perspective, but as far as performance goes, it's hugely optimized. So that's a really, really good way of optimizing all of your scenes. Obviously, when you've got your camera at the start where you would spawn, you're seeing everything except what's behind you. You don't see the door, for instance. So there are limitations, but it does help. And the larger the world and the more walls you have, the better. If you've got like a maze, for instance, and lots of things in your maze, or the house that we've made and you're in different rooms, you can occlude all the other rooms and all their contents and just improve performance that way. So that is
multiple levels. How does that help? Does it do you occlude the plane too if you have something below it?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely. If you've got several levels and you don't want to see, you don't want everything below you to be rendered, then mark your floor as an occluder. Definitely. I mean, you could generally mark everything as an occluder and occludee, but it's not necessary, and it does help a little bit by just reducing some of those calculations that your headset has to make. So all these small items wouldn't be marked as occluders, or shouldn't be. They'll just be marked as occludees. But the big things like this this pillar, for instance, can potentially occlude some stuff. We can not see the tree there, so this should be marked as an occluder, definitely. Tables, probably not so much. Tables and chairs, no, I wouldn't. It's just have a think about stuff. Have a think about each object and whether or not it's actually going to, whether it's going to block items from your vision. And if it is, mark it as an occluder. And that's all you really need to do. Just about everything else, as I say, should be an occludee. So that's that. We'll close that. I'm not going to save it because I don't want a camera in the scene. And this one, we'll get I don't know if we really need to, but we'll get our rooms thing back open again. So there's the house that we were making with the wallpaper, and I got that one wrong. I did fix it last time. Next time it's uploaded, that'll be right, but the wallpaper's going the wrong way. And I haven't done the windows yet for here. I still haven't done the sliding door for the patio door here. It's just one big window, but we'll get to that. I mean, the doors need handles and all kinds of things yet. There's lots to do, but as I say, when you come out of this door and round the corner, this would be like a corridor when you first come into the house, and up here there would be stairs going on to the next level. So this is what I wanted to do today, to cover a few different methods for creating stairs, straight stairs and spiral staircases and things like that. So we'll start a new scene. And the first thing I'm going to do is just delete the stuff I don't need. I don't need a camera or a light.
You need to do it.
It's Jay. Jay needs to do it.
It's Jay. Just mute Jay.
Sorry.
No, Jay didn't hear us.
I apologize for the interruption.
No problem.
It was a lot of noise.
No problem. So we've started off with the default cube, which is always in Blender when you start up, unless you've changed your startup file. That's something else I can show you sometime as well, is how to change your startup file so it's more customized to your needs. So what I'm going to do is this edge on the front, I'm just going to put the object origin in it, and then I can press Ctrl and G and reset it back to the center. So that's going to be the front of my stair or stairs. As I say, there's a couple of different ways of doing this, so I'm just going to duplicate this one for now and move it over. And this first one, the easiest way in my opinion to create stairs, although not the easiest way to make it fit your needs, is to go into edit mode and select the edge, this top edge. If you hit Ctrl and B, you can bevel it. So this is going to be the front of the first step and the top of the last step. And under here in bevel, if you go to custom, you can then under presets choose steps. And you've got a shape like a profile already created for you. You can just increase the number of segments until you've got steps, which kind of works. It can be a little bit strange to get it to fit your needs because it's already predefined how many steps you have. If you wanted to change the number of steps, you'd have to edit that profile, adding, points in and moving them about and creating a whole new profile for however many steps you need. You're stuck with this many. So obviously if you've got a really, really high flight of stairs, it's not really going to work. You can scale your steps. You can make them higher, you can make them wider, but obviously it deforms your steps and eventually they're going to be huge. You could just duplicate this, but even then it's going to be a bit of a pain to get it all lined up, and then you've got all this extra geometry and whatnot. It works, but it's not the best way in my opinion. What I would do is, come on, why isn't that? There we go. What I would do is I would first of all decide how big my steps are going to be. So in this instance, I want them to be, let's see, 6 inches high and 10 inches deep and a metre wide, because I'm English and we use a combination of imperial and metric because we're weird like that. So there is our first step.
Ooh.
And I'll do the same thing and just pop me origin at the centre at the front, just because it makes it easy to line up with where you want your stairs to start. And what I would do is add an array modifier. And an array, basically, let's just hide this. An array basically just repeats whatever it is that you've got. Currently, it's got a factor of 1 set on the X, which means that along the X-axis, 1 step along, it's adding another step. We can increase this so it's 1.1 steps along. Or we can change it so it's not adding 1 along the X, but it will add 1 along the Y and add 1 along the Z. So it's going both forwards and up by 1 step. And then you can literally just increase the number of steps that you want until you reach your top floor. And if it isn't quite matching perfectly because you've got your measurements wrong, you can just apply all and then just scale it ever so slightly until it fits on the Z or on the Y, whatever you need to do. But that's some really, really handy stairs. Yeah, let's just move all of those over and we'll do some spiral stairs. This is a little bit different, but let's imagine we've got like a turret thing at the top, see, and we've got a cylinder, like a column in a castle somewhere, and the spiral stairs going up. You'd have the wall on the outside, which is a circle, and then you'd usually have a little bit in the middle, like a column that the stairs are attached to. So we'll make something like that with some stairs going up, and we'll use a little bit of maths for this one. So we'll start off with a circle. I've just done add mesh circle, and you can see here, I'll just leave this at the default. It's 32 vertices, 32 segments, and we'll give it a radius of, let's say, 2.5 meters. That makes it 1.25. No, that's the diameter. We should have left it at a radius. We'll give it a radius of 1.25, and that gives us that little bit for the center. And then this bit where it says fill type, instead of n-gon, an n-gon is like a polygon with n number of edges. It could be anything, so it could be pentagon, hexagon, whatever. In this case, it would have 32 edges. We're not going to fill it with an n-gon like this. We're going to fill it with a triangle fan. And when I go into face mode, you'll see what I mean. It's literally created a load of triangles in a fan shape, filling it up, and all the vertices meet in the center. So we'll start with that. One of these is going to be our step, but the first thing we want to do is create the pillar in the middle. So I'm going to inset it, press I for inset, and I've just realised that I don't have my screencast keys on, so I do apologise for that. We'll undo that, I for inset, and we'll make it maybe about that size, and we'll deal with that later. We want to separate it, so we'll just press P for separate and S for by selection. We'll just go back into here. In fact, what I'll do is I'll hide that to avoid any confusion. Just press H for hide. We'll select this one. This is going to be my first step. I'm going to select this one just because the edge is in line with the x-axis. It's on a 0 on the y, and it's going along the x. So we'll press Ctrl and I to invert the selection and delete all of the faces except that one. And then we can add a solidify modifier, but we want it to go up rather than down, and then decide how thick we want our step. 0.05 is probably a bit thin. Let's try 0.1. I don't know, might be a bit deep, but we'll leave it at 0.1, and that makes it easy when we come to do our sums. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference for something like this, but I always tick even thickness. And then we'll add another array modifier. Only this time we don't want it to go along the X, we just want it to go up along on the Z. So that's one up, and we'll just give it maybe 5 steps to start with. And then to make it go around in a spiral, what we're going to do is add an empty. And an empty, it's not a mesh, it doesn't actually add anything to the scene, it's more a control point. So for this, we're going to use an object offset, and we're going to choose our empty as the offset. And then now, if I rotate the empty along the Z, it rotates our steps. And because I know that there were 32 steps or triangles in that original circle, I'm just going to type in under rotation for the empty on the Z, I'm going to do 360 divided by 32, and that should give me exactly 1 step around. And then we can, if I wanted to do a full rotation, I can just choose for the count 32, and that will give me a full circle. So now, because I know that we made each step 10 centimeters high, what we can do, we'll bring back this circle here, and we'll go into edit mode, select everything, and we can extrude them on the Z by, well, it's 10 centimeters by 32, isn't it? Which is what? Is that going to be 3.2 meters? Have I got me? Yeah, there we go. See, my mental arithmetic's appalling. I can do calculus and differentiation, but I can't do a bloomin' simple thing like 10 centimeters by 32. So there is, there's our middle pole. We can probably auto smooth that. And what I should have done was in the beginning duplicated the outer edge, but I forgot to do that, so I'm just going to bring in, let's just hide that and hide the stairs for now. I'm going to bring in another circle, and we'll fill it with nothing, and we'll unhide everything. This we will go to edge mode, select everything, extrude on the Z by 3.2 meters. And there's our outer wall as well. And then it would really just be a case of checking your normals. Obviously this wall needs to be pointing inwards, so I would go to face mode, select everything, shift and N, and just tick inside, and that'll flip the normals for the wall. And then it's just a case of cutting out where your door's going to be, putting in a floor, and we've already covered cutting out doors and stuff like that. But yeah, spiral stairs. Let's just turn off face orientation there. Obviously the easiest way to make it fit to be the right scale, shall we say, let's just give it a bit of a floor. Little trick that I didn't even think of, but perfectly sensible that Eileen showed us. Just bring an armature in using the Ready Player Me tools, and then you can see exactly how big the avatar is. Let's just get my little gimbal thing up here. You can see it's going to be fine. He's not hitting his head off the steps up above, so it would be perfectly serviceable. And you can increase this to however high. Not solidify, Lisa. Your array. Just increase it to however far you want your stairs to be. So, yeah, that's stairs. There are other ways of doing stairs, and lots of people do it this way, but personally I don't like it, and I'll show you what I mean. We'll just move everything over again. Bring in a cube, and we'll just get started like that. What some people would do is they would make the box fit exactly, you know, the space that the stairs have got to fill, where they're going to start, where they're going to finish. And then they would go into edge mode, and they will say, well, I want there to be 16 stairs. So Control-R to do a loop cut, type 16. There you go. But then you've got to start moving every step. You either start with a cube and move it down, or you start with a plane and start moving them up, and a lot of it's guesswork as to how high each one's going to be. And the trouble is, once you start, let's just get rid of that one, we'll do it with a plane. Let's do 10 steps for this one. Face mode. Once you start extruding these up, you might want to extrude this up by, I don't know, 10 centimeters. Next one needs to be 20 centimeters. Next one needs to be 30 centimeters. But what you've done is you've created a face here, which goes behind this stair, and then there's another face on the other side. And if you're going to bake, as well as being wasted geometry, if you're going to be baking your lighting, that is all going to be taking up space on your light map. It's not very optimal. It could cause problems when it comes to baking your lighting. You could get artifacts with all of these faces touching each other and things like that. You can see here we've got another face, and the more you go, 1, 2, 3, extrude 0.4. The higher you go, the larger this face is going to be. All of this bit behind it is wasted geometry, and you've got wasted light map space, sorry. And you've got that both on that side, and if I just hide these faces, and you've got one on that side of the step as well. You could delete them, but then you're going to have problems with there being non-manifold steps, because nothing's going to be joined up properly. This isn't going to be joined up to this step because there's no vertex and things like that. So it's really not it's, if you're just doing a rendered image in Blender, fine. If it gets you the results you want, fine. But when it comes to VR and baking your light maps and things like that, it's not optimal at all. It really doesn't work very well. So my advice would be to go, the easiest and quickest way would be to go along the array route. So yeah, that's steps. I've actually covered that quicker than I thought I was going to. So we've still got 20 minutes to cover other things. I'm wondering whether we should start. Would you like me to start looking at sliding doors and scripts and triggers and things to start with? I doubt if we could do that in 20 minutes,
yes,
but we can get a start and then maybe continue it next week. Yeah, okay, so we'll just create a new scene in here. And I'll make a new folder. And I'll just call it sliding door. And we'll save that into there. Door trigger. It's not a door trigger, but it's just a demo. So, if we start a new scene, just delete everything. I'll start off with a plane. And I'm literally just moving it along so that the corner is there. We'll scale it down by, say, a point. That's not what I wanted to do. Scale it on the X by 0.8. And I'll add a mirror modifier. So we've got 2 doors. And I'll add a solidify modifier. We'll just stick that above the mirror. Make that 0 and we'll see how thick we want the door. Something like that'll do. And we'll apply the solidify modifier because I think what I'll do is I'll take that edge and that edge and I can't decide. No, I won't. We'll do that edge and that edge, and I'll do Control and B, give it a little bit of a chamfer. And we've kind of got a door of sorts, 2 doors.
You have it open in the middle.
Well, I haven't got clipping turned on. I'm going to turn off merge. And hopefully, if I apply all, select everything and do separate by loose parts, we should have 2 doors. Yes, we have. So it doesn't matter if they're touching. We've just got, at the moment, the doors are in the closed position. With the vertex being, the origin being dead in the centre for each of them. So, what I can do, I'm just going to call this one right door. And this one left door. And we'll go to Banter Projects, Rooms, Assets, Sliding Door, and I'll just call that Doors. Just export everything as one thing. So there's our doors. And we should be able to move each one individually. So, the first thing I would do is to have an animation. I'm wondering if I've made this difficult for myself, having 2 doors. I should have started with 1. Nah, we'll just leave it at that. We'll on this, the parent, this is basically just an empty parent. We're going to, now a lot of this, I'm going to make mistakes here, but a lot of this I find is just trial and error anyway. Open up the animation.
Is it maybe a good idea to actually like have the doors like a little bit in front of each other so they can actually slide open, either behind or in front? Does that make sense? If it goes a little bit behind, you can actually slide them open.
Well, I was just going to open them this way. Oh, not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they go
So they
through the
both
wall
open
then.
to the side and the center opens.
They
Yeah.
go through the wall if you open it like that. That's why you have to overlap them. You have to like, they need to be a little bit behind or in front so they can actually slide open. That
The,
makes sense.
the pocket doors. They go into the cavity in the walls.
Yeah.
Oh, is that?
Well,
I don't
that's what
know.
I was going to do, yeah. So you've got walls coming down here and walls coming down here, and the doors just slide open and disappear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were actually making your wheel doors there.
No, I'm not doing the
Yeah.
patio doors. This is just an example at
Okay.
the moment of how to do sliding
Okay.
doors. So, because we're going to animate both the left and right door, I'm going to add one animation to just the empty. And I'm just going to call this closed position. I'm just trying to think how to do this. The easiest thing to do is to record that, and then has that actually? Yes, it has. Right, move this open a little bit, but we want it to be in the closed position, and the same for this door. It will automatically create a keyframe. That's what these little diamond things are for. And we're going to leave it at that. We're not going to have any more. We just need one keyframe, and that is the closed position. So then, if we have a look at doors again, it's already created an animator. You can double click on that and you can see on entry into the world, the doors will automatically start in the closed position. So entry, closed position. So then what we want to do is create another animation. So we'll do here where the little menu is, closed position, create new clip. And this one we're going to say open anim. And that doesn't need to be connected to anything because we don't want the animation to run on entry into the world. We're going to trigger it using a script. So it's just got to sit there floating, doing nothing. So again, click on the empty. Make sure we've got open anim selected. Start recording, and then we do the left door. It's going to start at 0 in the closed position. So we'll just do this again. I'm sure there's a quicker, easier way of doing this, but I don't know what it is. And then we've got to decide how long it's going to take for the door to open. Do we want it to be a second, half a second? We'll do it for a second just for ease because we can alter the timing afterwards. So we'll move this forward to 1 second. And then we move it into its open position, which we'll just say is going to be a meter that way. And then this one is going to be minus a meter that way. So we stop recording and we move this back. You can see we've got an animation going from closed to open over the space of 1 second. So that's our open animation. Then what we want to do, I'm just going to add in a floor just because I find it disorientating to not have a floor. We'll have it right in the centre. And you know what, let's just make it a bit darker because it's blinding. Floor. I'll just give it a unlit colour will do. Maybe something like that. Ooh. So we want to add in a trigger, and the way I would do it is to add in a cube. Put your cube wherever you want it to be. We want it to be sitting on the floor. And yeah, we'll just alter the scale a little bit, so as you walk towards the door, we want it to open.
Can you use a cube, stretch it for both sides and have a loop for open and closed for both?
You're better
that
off
same
having a
cube?
trigger for each side, in my opinion. But although I haven't said that, no, I have done it before where it's been stretched across the doors. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So let's reset the position. Good point. I don't see why we couldn't do that. And we'll just increase it along the Z. So this is going to be the point at which it triggers the door. Yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah, I remember now how I did it. So yeah, while you're in the trigger, the door remains open, and when you leave it, it closes again. So yeah, that's why we need it. Excellent, thank you for that. Good reminder. So once we've done that, you want to turn off the mesh renderer. But the top box collider, we'll want that to be a trigger. I'm just going to turn on visibility for the box collider again. So that needs to be marked as a trigger for it to work. So then we need to add a script. And we'll go into SDK. And I can never remember which one it is. Is it a trigger event or a player trigger event? Let's try the trigger event first, because I'll see instantly when I see it. Go back to cube. On trigger. You want it to be all player type player. On trigger enter, on trigger exit. So on trigger enter, we want to affect the doors, and we want to run an animation, and the animation is, what have I called it? Sliding door open anim. So go back to cube. Actually, I'm just going to press F2 and then I can copy the name, and then I haven't got any problems with spelling mistakes. Animator, play string. String is the name of the animation. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Paste that in there. And then we do the same thing again for on trigger exit, only this time we need another animation for the doors closing again. So we do the same thing. We choose the doors, we go into animation, create a new clip. We're going to call it closing anim. Record. At 1, it was a meter open that way, wasn't it? And that one was minus a meter. And then at 1 second, we're going to make them both 0 again. And then we can stop recording. So we've now got, it starts open and it closes again. So we then go back to the cube. On trigger exit, we're affecting the doors. F2 and copy the name. Animator, play string, pop it in there. And then if you want it synced so that everybody sees the door open as you walk through, you just tick that. And the last thing I would do is that once you leave that, once you leave the trigger, you want the doors to go back to the rest and close position. So I would then make a transition back to the close position once the closing animation's finished. And then the last thing you want to do is to make sure that none of these are set to loop. Otherwise you'll just see the door closing constantly or opening constantly when you walk into the trigger. And I think that is all you need to do. If anybody knows any different, please let me know.
That's brilliant.
But that should be it. I will test this out. I know we've only got 5 minutes left.
Can you test it in Unity?
I don't believe
Like
so, no, not yet. I do think that I remember in one of the Banter EMAs, Shane was talking about as part of the new SDK. I'm sure he said he was going to make it possible to test some of the scripts in the Unity editor rather than having to upload. So I think that is to come. If I'm right, then brilliant. It's going to be fantastic. But at the moment, because we've only got a few minutes left, I'm not going to start creating a project and glitch and uploading. But I will test it out and make sure I've got it right.
So I did everything right apart from just the closed. I just didn't put it was closed to start off with.
Right, okay.
I thought it was something like I only did 2.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is when this event's finished, I will upload it and I'll test it. And if I need to do any tweaking to make it work, if I've missed any steps, because this is new to me. I've never worked with SDKs much at all. I did a little bit in VR chat, but I found Udon an absolute nightmare. Hated it. So this is really, really new to me. As I say, if I do find anything that needs changing, I will add an addendum. I will add something onto the end of this video before it's uploaded, showing what I've done. So you just need to go along straight to the end and see how to fix it. Okay.
Just realised why I keep moving. Barry's hand's sticking out back of him. He's pushing me out. Why do I keep moving? Awesome stick drift, keep moving.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, we've got a few minutes left, so does anybody have any questions at all? No?
No, it's brilliant.
Probably be a good idea for me to unmute Jay there, in case he has any questions. So, sorry about that, Jay. I did mute you. It's just you were echoing and it was a little bit off-putting. But yeah, if that's it, if everybody's happy, we can kind of finish a couple of minutes early. But what I will do for next week is I'm going to do a little bit more on that house. As I say, I don't see the point in just repeating stuff over and over again just to add more walls. You can easily go back to earlier videos to see how we did it, and I'll just expand it a bit, and then next week I'll show you how I put in the stairs and start with the second floor, and hopefully probably even do the windows as well. And that I'll probably be picking your brains there, Pony, because I've not used Aline's shader that she created, so I'll probably be asking you about it for a bit of help. But we'll do that.
Yeah, that one's a fun one to work with. I'll have to practice beforehand then. just to get myself used to it again.
Yeah, you can just have a look at your project for the Distracted Globe, can't you? And see how you did did it in there. I can have a play
it's come back a
myself,
while.
of course, but you know, I just don't really know what I'm doing with it at the minute. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you everybody
you.
for coming along. I hope you've
Absolutely.
learned something useful.
Thank you.
I hope you can make use of the stairs,
Thank
because
you.
spiral staircases are just brilliant. I love them. It's so much fun when you get them uploaded and climb up them in World. It's just fab. But yeah. And as I say, we'll maybe even, because we've covered triggers this week, there's a possibility I might even finish a door, that one going into the kitchen in the room, and put a trigger on it, and then we can see if we can get that to work, to go in and out of the kitchen.
Brilliant.
Okay, right.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone.